Check, check, check. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the King's Capital. Hope you all had a great trading week. It was uneventful. I mean, we had FOMC, we had Thanksgiving if you're here in the States, which is where I'm at, beautiful California. So all that said, yeah, I watched the charts. I didn't take any trades. I was merely a spectator this week, which is fine. Listen, there are going to be weeks to trade. There are going to be weeks to not trade. And you kind of have to know, like, what kind of week it's going to be. And that's legitimately one of the hard things with trading is knowing, are we trending? Are we not trending? Has the trend stopped? And how long is it going to take me to figure out, right? So on the dollar here, we were trending. Well, how long did it take any of us to figure out, okay, we're just moving sideways, right? When we saw this pin bar right here, and this one, we should have been thinking, okay, well, yeah. And I think I had figured it out at that point. It was probably one of my videos, how many weeks back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe a month and a half ago. But as always, guys, if you did trade, hope you traded safe. Hope you made some money. And as always, we're starting with DXY. And on that, I mean, I think we still have more downside. Yeah, we're into discount, assuming bullishness, right? Obviously, you have my markup here, my little fancy arrow. Ta-da. Yeah. Anyways, potentially more downside, honestly. Big impulse. Yeah, it does look like we're slowing down. I would love to see us kind of come into the zone. We could extend it all the way down to here, but here is fine, right? So we could do this if we wanted to. And hey, that's not bad either, actually, because I kind of like how when it comes to these kind of arrays right here, usually we're looking for like that 50%, right? It's not, it doesn't have to go there, but it's just kind of what we're looking for generally. And I like it kind of with this breaker. So we're looking for that 61.8. So like I said, I'm expecting more downside. For being we're not December yet. So there's something I've been hearing a lot about seasonality too, and that's something I'd like to talk about. And it does kind of seem that in December, right, here we go, we're just kind of moving sideways. Not anything big, right? We've already pushed, we've already trended. We've already been trending. So here we go again, December, just kind of moving sideways. This one's not so bad, actually. Hold on. Nope. December, moving sideways. I think you get the point, right? We'll go back to 2020. December, moving sideways. My expectation then is coming into the December is that, Lord willing, we make it here and we trend sideways. And this is what we'll do until 2024, if you can believe we're almost 2024. And then we're going to do one of two things. We're going to continue, or rather, we're going to reverse and continue our bullish trend, which is the expectation, or we're going to continue down. Now, the hard thing to gauge here is whether we actually will continue because there are no rate hikes, and the expectation, I guess, coming into 2024 is that there will actually be rate cuts in 2024. So if that's the case, although the technical is pointing us towards a long, maybe that's not the case. All right, so just something to keep in mind. To me, though, this kind of does look like we're on this is the buy side of like a market maker buy model. So we'll see. Maybe it's not. But that's kind of what it looks like to me. You tell me your thoughts. If you're into the market maker MMBM stuff, let me know. It's definitely something that's within my wheelhouse, but it's not usually my first the first thing I think about. But you find them everywhere, actually. We're starting to look at price kind of slowing down, right? Boom, boom, boom. Usually people call them like a head, recognize them as like some kind of head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders. But really it's when you start seeing price kind of curving around, kind of here, right? Whoop, whoop. Anyways, point is, we have a week left in November. Friday is the 1st. So, my expectation is that we'll probably just continue down and then maybe move sideways based on seasonality. So let's go ahead and dig in. Let's look at JPY. We haven't looked at JPY in a while. I think at some point this is going to have to turn around at some point. At some point that there was talks like the Japanese monetary policy was going to change. If we go to euro, or rather dollar JPY, that's USD CAD. Here's USD JPY. So my thought is at some point that is going to have to change. And if the dollar actually does just continue down in 2024, then perhaps what we're seeing is we're going to start rounding off, and then come 2024, JPY might get some relief, and then the dollar. Well, if the dollar comes down and JPY gets relief, then we're going to look at sells on USD JPY coming into 2024. But that's kind of like the super long view, and kind of assuming a few things about the Japanese monetary policy. Excuse me, and what the Fed's considering doing as far as cutting, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say at this point. Just kind of throwing that out there as far as some long-term predictions or expectations are coming into 2024. But again, back to DXY real quick. Expecting more downside. I don't think the 4-hour or anything's showing any kind of relief. Look at that, worked out perfectly. Let's get rid of it. What did I have here? Will price respect? No, it will not. Actually, it will just continue down because it never made it there. So that was just something I was looking at from a previous week. So we had this huge liquidity void, but price never really kind of came back up and tested. No consequent encroachment. So what are we looking at right now in terms of where the dollar is? It is kind of at a pivotal point right here, but again, I look at these. Listen, it doesn't have to, but we do have some equal lows coming in right here. Roughly, right? So that does seem like there's some liquidity residing there. Let's see what happens when we get to the 61.8, okay? Let's go ahead and hit Euro USD. Hit it on the weekly real quick. Now, we're with Euro USD, again, we'll have to see what happens with the dollar. This last week, there really wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of trading. This is just a single, there's not a lot of range here. Obviously, we've been... this is a bit of a market maker buy model on a lower time frame, probably in the daily, but coming up into our 61.8, this breaker block, my expectation is that we'll turn around, but that's assuming the dollar will turn around. In terms of seasonality with euro, let's check it out real quick, right? So we're in December 2023. What have previous Decembers given us? Sideways movement. Let's look at this one, November. Okay, December, sideways movement. So again, I think the point is kind of proven here with euro. It's really not doing a whole lot in December. We are in a weekly chart, so there is some range in there if you're looking to trade range. But again, December, nothing. 2018, this one, that's November. Okay, so December kind of sold off a little bit here. But, yeah, so there's a little movement here on this December, but generally it doesn't really look like the case, right? Here we go, December. That's January, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, not really a whole lot going on there in December. So my point in talking about seasonality, it's somewhat new on my radar, but it does kind of prove a point that perhaps in December we should be a little extra cautious. I want to go look at SPY real quick. And see what SPYs kind of looked like in previous Decembers. Here's December. I mean, okay. This one kind of sold off, so a little more movement there. January, not a whole lot of movement in that December. Really nothing in that December. So, forex is one thing when it comes to indices. Wow, that was a super tight little. I mean, it was trucking up, but... really tight. Yeah, really not a whole lot as well with the indices. Oh, this one, look at this one. Man, if you're selling on that December 2019. You know what, though? That was when COVID was coming. I wonder if that has anything to do with it, right? The whole COVID, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want. No, 2019, March 2019? Or was that 2020? Whatever. You get my point. Oh, essentially, not a whole lot happening. Wow, I don't want that to come back ever again. Essentially, not a whole lot happening. So we are kind of at a pivotal point. I would like to see this liquidity swept if the dollar is to remain bullish. Although, honestly, I don't know how correlated these have been lately. We did kind of come into my range and then have a bullish push. Yeah, I was looking for sells here. I was just looking for more downside. But with the fundamentals on the dollar, we'll see. But let's go back to euro. Let's figure out our trade plan for the week when it comes to euro. And understanding that December could just be a light month. Really, maybe not a whole lot going on. Maybe don't go so hard on the risk this month, considering what's happened in previous Decembers as far as price action not really moving. So trade cautious. Don't look for the big moves. If you catch one, praise God. If not, that's okay. I don't know if our expectations should be set so high coming into this month. So that said, we are reaching up into this order block. I would like to see us come in here, reject, and then we can kind of hit this. There's some liquidity above here, and I do like that. But my expectation is that we'll come up here, reject, and we'll see further downside. But maybe that won't happen until 2024. That'd be an interesting thing to look at. What have January's done? Yeah, this one rallied. Hey, maybe we're just gonna rally, guys. Okay, April, August, January. This January sold off. So January looks like it could be a mover, but we'll have to figure out what direction we're going, right? If this is as price is pushing up, if we start to round off and start seeing market maker sell model, we'll start looking for sells. But I really wouldn't want to. I mean, I really want to push back past the 786. We do have some gap here that could be tagged. That's something to pay attention to. But with how strong it's been, I mean, we'll just have to see, guys. We'll just have to see. No predictions. My guess is we're going to consolidate. So coming into this week, I'm looking for probably more consolidation, if not a little more upside. But I'm looking for consolidation. We got one more week in November, really, less than that. So probably just some sideways movement before either coming back around and hitting this and then continuing on or sinking lower. So again, no big expectations coming into this week on Euro. It is bullish. I feel like because we're right there, we'll probably sweep this top. We're on the daily here. Did we get a close over that? I mean, it closed right at it, but honestly, this looks bullish to me. So again, with understanding that we're expecting more downside on the dollar, I would expect that we're going to come up and probably, we got a fair value gap right here. So we might come in and fill this. We could come down into this order block. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy. That's the previous level. I did not take this trade, by the way, but had it marked out and just, you just don't take every trade, I also had this guy marked out. Fair value gap, wasn't certain, but kind of looking at it now, I mean, we are kind of pushing higher. So unless we break below this, if we do, I'll probably expect more downside. But right as it's looking right now, we're pretty close to this top. I would expect us to sweep the top for liquidity at the minimum. So if we can get a pullback coming into this week, I would want to see something like this. Just kind of fill in this fair value gap, maybe tap the top of that order block or something, but just a little more upside that needs to coincide with the DXY, or I guess inversely correlate with DXY. So roughly my trade plan coming into this week, I'll just go ahead and mark this out. There's probably a fib in there as well, so we're probably looking for some kind of discount. Let's go to the 1 hour, make sure we get that marked. Yeah, because that's kind of our swing low to swing high. So I like that. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Let's bring the 50% in there because we're going to want to dig into that 50%. We want discount, guys. So something like that coming into this week. Do we have a fair value gap in there? No fair value gap. Now, it's possible that we just kind of tap into this guy, right? The smaller swing right here. We could tap into this order block and just carry on. That's possible. But I'd be looking for something more like this if I was going to take a buy on it. But again, I'm not expecting huge upside. Dollar's kind of coming into a pivotal spot. Same with Euro. It's kind of at that pivotal spot where at the end of the year, seasonality is saying it's likely just going to move sideways. So my expectations are low. Gonna risk maybe half. Whoops. Okay, yeah, and this one didn't quite work out. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't always get those pullbacks like we would like to have. So this one, GBPUSD, didn't quite do what I expected it to do, but also kind of coming up into this zone. So listen, this is actually kind of lining up, and we'll see how this week plays out, but it is kind of lining up to just kind of move sideways if we're coming up into these pivotal order block zones. We had some fair value gap stuff going on in here that we filled. So if we start closing above this 50% though, like on a weekly or in a daily or something like that, then we probably could see more upside. We do have this pretty obvious order block right there. There isn't a fair value gap, but the way price impulsively moved through this candle and closed below the low, that does still seem like a pretty strong order block. So that's a potentiality. It is at the 786. So we'll just have to see what happens. But again, I would expect some pullback coming into this week and then a little more upside into this area. But don't set your targets too high, okay? Again, seasonality is kind of telling us that it's likely, not guaranteed, but that it's likely to just kind of move sideways. So the first thing that catches my eye right here is this guy. I wouldn't expect anything. I know we got a fair value gap, but that's a pretty deep retrace. Honestly, I wouldn't even expect a deep retrace in this order block. I would expect it just to kind of tap the top of it, just because of how deep it is. But if we can get a push down into OTE over here in that order block, then again, kind of lining up with Euro, but Euro looks a little better. I would expect a push into there. So let's just mark that up. So we have our little trade plan for the week. Come on. Boom. And then this line right here, that's the higher time frame order block that I have marked out. It kind of coincides with the one we're at with Euro. So again, but if we start breaking lows, like sweeping this liquidity, we could be heading down, guys. But again, setting my expectations low. There's this amazing skit a long time ago. I forget what show it was, but it was called Lowered Expectations, and it was like a dating show, a fake dating show, right? It was like a comedy skit called Lowered Expectations. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's kind of funny, but that's me this week with the charts, just lowered expectations. We swept this top, strong close. Let's go for this fair value gap. This isn't the strongest order block by any means on the weekly. Maybe there's something on the daily that's gonna kind of key us off. Yeah, okay. Strong order block, fair value gap. This candle clearly impulsively moved through this candle, so expecting to at least tap up into here. If we can get a pullback. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That sounded gross, didn't it? Yo, this almost worked out. We didn't quite reach down into here, but again, I'm not really trading this pair, though. I'm just marking it up in case someone out there trades it. But a little fair value gap going on right here in this order block. Let's dip down into the hour and see if there's something just a little closer. Yeah, kind of swept that bottom. Okay, let's throw... Again, I'm kind of looking at this candle right here. Price moved through it pretty quickly. Maybe there's something on the 30-minute that's just super obvious. Nah, maybe this, but let's go back to that hour. My expectation is probably not that deep of a pullback. I'm not looking for super deep pullbacks this week. We'll see, because they already, like, GU and EU kind of look like they're ready to go already. So if we can get a pullback into discount, we definitely have a fair value gap. We have reason to think that price could pull back into here and then followed by more upside. Although the target on this is a little, I'm not certain. I guess I like this 618 level, so that's what I'd be eyeing. USD, JPY. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if the dollar just continues down and if we can get some monetary policy change from the Bank of Japan, excuse me, delicious LaCroix, then we might start to see this round out. Have we swept this high? No, hold on. Let's double check this high right here. I don't think we've swept it. Okay. Previous weekly high. Cool. We're just gonna have that marked out because I think we're gonna sweep that guy. Clearly, this is a pretty bullish looking candle. We kind of tapped into this order block. Remember when I'm talking about order blocks? The stronger ones to me, like, okay, you could have looked at this as like, okay, it was the last down candle before a green candle, and that's fine, right? You could do that. My hang up is just that price, this is a down candle, this is an up candle, but this doesn't show me anything very impulsive at all. This is really just kind of sideways. When I see a down candle like this, and then I see a green candle that just pushes through, closes over that top, right? That shows me that there's money and there's impulse there. So when I'm looking at order blocks, I want to choose the one, in a bullish scenario, if that down candle is here, I want the green candle that actually impulsively displaces this high. So, and it goes the opposite way with bearish fair value gap or bearish order blocks as well. So if it was the other way, let's say we invert this real quick. I want the down candle that's going to, boom, like this one, close below the low of the previous one. All right, let's get out of the inversion. Cool. USD JPY coming into this week. That's definitely a bullish candle. This looks like a nice swing point right here and confirmed with that fourth one. So we're looking at, I'm looking at highs. There's a great thing that Casper says, and I watched it in one of his videos, but it's if you don't know Casper SMC, go follow him. He puts out amazing trading content, tons of educational stuff. But his thing is, he says, no raid, no trade. So looking at this, seeing this nice impulsive move after we have kind of raided the liquidity here that's residing there and tapped into, this is kind of our order block area on the higher time frame. So my expectation, if we can get a little pullback and a push up, that's what I'm looking at this week. Even if we can, honestly, the way this is kind of forming right here, ideally, we come in, we got a fair value gap. We got this order block, which is strong to me based on this candle. Probably some kind of tap into there before sweeping that previous high, and that would be my target. Now, it is possible. You gotta pay attention to these things. Like we did raid that bottom, but look at this is potentially an order block going in the wrong, or rather in the bearish scenario, right? So you kind of have to pay attention to like the bearish scenarios as well. At least I do. You don't have to. I do. Just as like, okay, let's say I get into that trade, I might want to take some profit right there, right? Price could potentially turn around right there, or there could be bears waiting to push that and we get some strong rejections or something. So just something to be mindful of. My guess is other people will be taking profit as well. We probably have a fib here as well, but just based on the price action, that's, pretty obviously into a discount. So yeah, we're looking at something like this on USD JPY. We'll see what happens, but I do feel like this is the draw on liquidity right here. That previous high just has not been swept. We haven't even tapped it, right? We're barely under it on this high. So look for that, guys. This could be just has a little bit of a pennant look to it, but we could just be engineering some liquidity to come down and then take that little spot. Plus we got this fair value gap in here. So that's my expectation for USD JPY. USD CAD. I used to love trading USD CAD a long time ago. It's not really been my fave lately. This looks like it's got a little something to it. We could see some push up from there. My line in the sand for this though is probably going to be this guy right here. That is a great order block. Yeah, that is a great order block. Let me I was trying to think through this. If we were to take that's like a monthly though. Let's look at the 3-day. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Not relevant. Not relevant. I'm not a big trend line guy, but this one did look pretty solid to me. Rated that liquidity, tapped into this order block, pushed up from there, definitely displaced. And now just looking for where we're going next. So we have engineered some liquidity here, so we could, honestly, we're kind of here. So we'll have to see. If we turn around from here and we can push up beyond this high, then I'll be taking along. Alternatively, I'll be looking at this right here on the daily, and then let me see what that looks like on the 4-hour real quick. Because again, some engineered liquidity. We've swept that. If we can sweep this liquidity into this fair value gap in this order block, that would be great. I do not know what the I can see that. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know what the policy is right now with oil. So if y'all know what that is, then let me know. Let's take a look and see what our news is like coming into this week for the dollar though. GDP growth rate. Previous forecast is 5. Okay. All right. So we do have some news coming into the week. Personal income, personal spending. See, a lot of that already happened. Yeah, so just be mindful of that. I don't think that's gonna affect us too much, but maybe it will. We'll see. But USD CAD, yeah, if we can sweep into here and we can get a solid reaction off the zone, then it could be an opportunity to take buys. Let's dip into SPY. Got a T-Rex going with SPY apparently. Cool. Right. So getting back to SPY, I know I talked about it a little bit with seasonality. We have swept this liquidity. We are at this previous top. My expectation coming into this week is we will likely, I would like it to see us sweep that liquidity that resides above there. Seasonality wise, it could just be sideways, you know, through December. We'll have to see, but clearly there's just tons of momentum to the outside. You know, right here you could have said, oh, it's slowing down. We had a big green candle, smaller candle, but then boom, shot up. So, you know, this one reminds me of this one or vice versa. And so we could, I don't know, we could see more upside. Let's go to the daily. Now we have slowed down on the daily. It doesn't mean anything, right? We got this slowed down, quick little pullback, and then just shot right up. So potentially we could, you know, we are kind of forming this, I forget what this candle pattern's called, you know, 3 little dojis right there. There's probably a name for that. We filled in this gap on the daily finally. So that was a long-term target that's just been there forever. So we'll have to see coming into this coming week. We're just getting tight, guys. This is honestly, if you've been making money, like this is a pretty tight range right here. I mean, it's still going up, but we could be, you know, kind of finishing off with like a, I don't know, an ending diagonal or whatever that's called. I don't know. You Elliott Wave people tell me. What is that one? What's that pattern? But we're just kind of bouncing around on this channel. Price is definitely slowing down. But again, I want to see us sweep this top right here. So my expectation is upside still. That is my expectation. Let's dig a little deeper. Would XBX show me something a little better? Let's do XBX or SPX. Or is that kind of closed? That's close too, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Again, though, we're kind of squeezing here. So if we come into this week and this is the daily. If we break the low of this candle, then I would expect a pullback. It looks like I have something marked off here, and so that could be our pullback. But again, if we break the low, so if we start making new lows, I would expect to at least come down to here. We have a fair value gap, an order block, and that could be potentially the start of like a market maker sell model. But with how bullish it's been, we'll see. Again, we start pushing up over here, then I just kind of think this could go two ways. Look at this. You can see price is pushing off. It really wants to reject this area. And it's just kind of trickling. Long consolidations. Look, even into the morning, and then, all right. Again, not expecting huge moves in December. So, if we can displace below this low, I'll look for something that's kind of more like this. If we can displace this low, I'll look for some kind of pullback to sell into this zone, right? So that's kind of my first thought. Remember when I'm talking about order blocks, it's the one that like price. It's not. It's okay. SPY's a little tricky right now. But clearly price is rejecting this area, right? Bought up once, bought up twice, didn't tap in, and then boom, we push through. So clearly this order block is, you know, we're getting reaction from it. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of sit on my hands maybe a little this week. We'll see. If we can do something. Okay, so this is my sell idea, but we got to displace this low in this order block. So I got another 2 scenarios, right? We just push up above that high, and then I look for, again, some kind of pullback into an order block with a fair value gap or something like that, right? That's usually what I'm looking for. Fair value gaps, order blocks, discount, premium, blah, blah, blah. The other one is that maybe on the 15-minute we've displayed. Yeah, so we've kind of pushed beyond some of these highs on the 15-minute. So if we can pull back, the other scenario, and this is kind of a lower time frame, is we push back into here somewhere, and then we displace this high. Okay, then I'll look for a pullback and try and find that buy to go long, right? That's super messy. You get the idea though, right? So there's a few scenarios that could play out. There's the sell idea, and then there's two options for our buy, right? We either just displace this high right out of the gate, and then I look for a pullback, or we pull back, create a higher low, and then a higher high, and then I buy on that pullback into the low. So that's what I'm looking at for SPY. Now crypto's been kind of crazy lately, right? It does look like it's slowing down right now into our zone right here. We do have this breaker block right there into the 786. So we are kind of in a channel too. I mean, this isn't we do have a little bit of a market maker buy model here, but I'm still looking for, I would love to get back into the 20,000s. This hasn't been tapped right here. We did push in that fair value gap. Yeah, do I think there's still room to come down? Absolutely. Right now we're still bullish, but again, price does look like it's slowing down. If we can get some pullbacks to buy, could be good. That worked out. That did not quite work out. Cool. For crypto, again, just kind of expecting more upside, but with caution. Is crypto seasonal? I don't know. I feel like it's always the end of the year, right? It starts just going parabolic, right? Here's October, November, December. Rode that one. That was tight. June, July, August, September, October, November. Okay, December definitely had movement because it just tanked. Or is this my December? No, December moved sideways there. So I don't know if the seasonality really applies to crypto. December was January it kicked off. Cool. January 20 this year it really started getting bullish. So not sure the seasonality necessarily applies with crypto. We'll see. But we are kind of slowing down. So it'd be interesting to see if crypto starts following maybe some of the other stuff that's going on with forex or whatever, since it is a currency after all. Let's look at some other pairs. H-bar. Let's look at this one. Everybody's all about this one right now. Nice little pullback, a little fair value gap there on the weekly on kaspa. Again, if where are we at? 15 cents. Dude, I got buddies that are in it from like here. So they're living their dream right now. They've gone parabolic. We are kind of on the underside of this. We'll see. We need to displace this high. We got a fair value gap right here. So if we don't get, if we start closing, oh, notice the daily. Okay, cool. Yeah. So my idea for the daily here on kaspa is if we push into here, we need to reject this pretty hard probably. We need to come in here and reject before continuing on. If we don't, and we start closing kind of below this 50% here, my expectation is we could sweep this liquidity here and then come back into the 9-cent region. Not a terrible place to buy. That's not the greatest order block. I like this one a lot, but certainly 6 cents. Anything under 9 cents, if we can push into here, that'd be great. Anything in below is probably going to be a great bang for your buck with a potential of this coin. So, but again, like this is our first stop right here. Who knows what price is going to do, right? We could do kind of one of these things, you never know. I'm not a big pattern player, but we could kind of pivot or ping pong here until it finally pushes out. But we'll see. Again, we need a strong reaction off of the basically 13 cents to 12.5 cent region. So I'm gonna put a little alert on kaspa. Just want to see what's going to happen with this guy. But that's it for me this week, guys. All right, we're coming into December. Probably not a whole lot going to happen through the end of the year, so trade safe. Don't YOLO too much. Don't go, don't risk a ton just because you think it's an A+ setup. There's not a ton of A+ setups, really, honestly. So, with that being said, all right, guys, God bless y'all. King's Capital is out. Trade safe. Trade safe. Peace.